Good morning, students. Today we'll start new chapter, chapter 5, that is states of matter. So, as you know, there are three states of matter, and what are these? Gaseous state, number 2, liquid state, and number 3, solid state. Do you know the difference between these three states of matter? Already you have got in gaseous state, gaseous substance do not have any definite volume and definite shape. Liquid substance have volume but it do not have any definite shape. It takes the shape of the container. And in solid state, they have some definite geometrical shape and they have definite volume also. And the basic difference between this gaseous state, liquid state and the solid state is, suppose this container contain gas and this container contain your liquid and this is suppose your solid state. So the main point of difference between these three states of matter is, in case of gaseous state, the molecules present inside the gas, they have no force of attraction in between them, and that is why the molecules are freely move inside the container because they have little bit of force of attraction, I mean a negligible force of attraction, and that's why they can move freely inside the container. And since they can move freely, since they have no force of attraction in between them, and that is why you will get some intermolecular distance between the molecules. But in case of liquid, the molecules have little force of attraction in between them, and that is why the molecules are closely staying with one another, and the intermolecular distance you will get less as compared to gas. But in case of solid, the molecules have very strong force of attraction, and that is why the molecules are closely attached with one another like this. And due to this closely attachment, they have definite shape and you will get definite volume. So in case of gas, the intermolecular force is negligible. In case of liquid, they have little bit of force of attraction in between the molecules. In case of solid, they have strong force of attraction, and that is why the molecules are attached with one another. And in gas, the intermolecular distance is more due to less force of attraction. In liquid, the intermolecular distance is less as compared to gas, and in case of solid, intermolecular distance is very small due to strong force of attraction in between the molecules, and that is why the molecules are closely attached with one another, and so the intermolecular distance is very small. Now, as I have told, in case of gas, no force of attraction between the molecules. In case of liquid, they have little force of attraction. In case of solid, they have more force of attraction. So what about this force of attraction, which are called intermolecular forces? So I mean the force between the molecules. What are the names of these intermolecular forces? First time you should know about that. So first time we will do about the intermolecular forces. I mean what type of force exists in between the molecules? Intermolecular forces. So what type of forces exist in between the molecules? There are different types of intermolecular forces you will get in between the molecules, and these are commonly called van der Waals force of attraction. So I will tell you one by one what are the names of these intermolecular forces. Number one, this is called dipole force. This is the first one, which is called dipole force of attraction. So what type of force is called dipole force? First time I will tell you that. This is one of the molecule, HCl, I mean hydrogen chloride, and this is another molecule of HCl, hydrogen chloride. As you know, chlorine is more electronegative than hydrogen, and due to more electronegativity, chlorine will attract the bonded electron towards itself, and that is why chlorine will be partially negative, hydrogen will be partially positive. Similarly, Here also hydrogen is delta plus, chlorine is delta minus due to electronegativity difference, and this type of molecules are called polar molecule. Now in between the polar molecule, you know, the hydrogen bond may be formed between this positive and negative, but here due to presence of chlorine, since chlorine is larger in size, that's why chlorine cannot form hydrogen bonding. Only fluorine, oxygen and nitrogen can form hydrogen bonding. So although chlorine cannot form hydrogen bonding, but there has some force of attraction between this negative end and this positive end, and this force of attraction is called dipole force of attraction. I mean, the force of attraction which takes place between two polar molecules, that force of attraction is called dipole force of attraction. For example, HCl. But those molecules which can form hydrogen bonding, that is not called dipole, that is another force, that is called hydrogen bonding force. So this is one force of attraction which is called dipole force of attraction. Number 2, hydrogen bonded force. Hydrogen bonded force. If you consider water molecule H2O, it has band shape, and due to more electronegativity of oxygen, it becomes delta minus, hydrogen will be delta plus. And similarly, this is another water molecule H2O, hydrogen delta plus, oxygen delta minus. So here also the force of attraction takes place between this negative and positive, and due to presence of oxygen, oxygen can form hydrogen bond between oxygen and this hydrogen, I mean this positive and negative. This type of force is called hydrogen bonded force. I mean those molecules which can form hydrogen bond, they will have hydrogen bonded force, and those molecules which cannot form your hydrogen bonding but they are polar, that type of force is called dipole force. So there are two types of forces, one is called dipole force and one is called hydrogen bonded force. Those molecules, those polar molecules which cannot form hydrogen bonding, they are said to be they have hydrogen dipole force, and those molecules which can form hydrogen bonding, they are said to have hydrogen bonded force. So these are called the intermolecular force, I mean the force of attraction between two molecules, and that's why these are called intermolecular force of attraction. Number 3, another force, that force is called ion dipole force. Ion dipole force. So what is ion dipole force? Actually this type of force exists in between an ion and a polar molecule. So dipole means you have to take one polar molecule, and ion means you have to take one ion. As you know, there are two types of ion, positive ion and negative ion, which are called cation and anion. So you can take any cation or any anion, and you have to take one polar molecule. There in between them some force of attraction exists, and that force of attraction is called ion dipole force. So if you want to write the definition of ion dipole force, this type of force exists in between an ion and a polar molecule. For example, suppose this is one ion, sodium ion, I mean one cation. Inside this cation, if some polar molecule will come, for example water molecule, when water molecule comes towards this sodium ion, as you know water is polar molecule, oxygen delta minus, hydrogen delta plus due to electronegativity difference. Here also another water molecule, oxygen delta minus, hydrogen delta plus. Since the ion is positive, so the positive ion attract the negative part of the polar molecule, and this force of attraction is called ion dipole force of attraction. I mean between this negative and positive some force of attraction takes place, and this type of force of attraction is called ion dipole force of attraction. I mean this type of force takes place between an ion and a polar molecule. But one thing you should know, if you take negative ion, I have considered as positive ion, if you take negative ion like Cl minus ion, then also force of attraction takes place. But in that case, if you consider Cl minus, then the positive end of the polar molecule will come towards the anion, because negative always attract the positive. Automatically the molecule will move like this way. So this type of force which takes place in between an ion and a polar molecule, that type of force is called ion dipole force of attraction. So I have given three force of attraction: dipole force of attraction, hydrogen bonding force of attraction, and one is ion dipole force of attraction.